The following program is a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and are not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elder Answers. This is the show where we get together every week and we discuss the major issues facing seniors in the United States today. Hi, everybody. This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center, bringing you Elder Answers. Whether you're located in Banning or Beaumont or Yucca Valley or Joshua Tree or 29 Palms, whether you're in Blythe or Brawley, whether you're in Indio or Coachella or La Quinta, Palm Desert, or anywhere in between, anywhere in this generalized area that you can hear my voice, we're here to serve you and your family. Whether it's a loved one who is a senior, that could either be your spouse, that could be your parent, that could be your grandparent, that could be an aunt and uncle, could be somebody who's very, very important to you that you understand needs some help, needs some protection. And now you're faced with so much more today than we've ever been faced with before. It's like a confluence of issues are coming together and are standing between you and the quality of care that you need and deserve. Now, there are things that you could do. There are things you should have done. There are things that could make this situation much better, both for you and your family. It's an acknowledgement that you have a responsibility to yourself, to each other. You have a responsibility to your parents, perhaps your grandparents, whatever your relationship is, not to wait until the last minute to address these issues. I cannot begin to tell you how bad of an outcome that can result in, especially given the unique set of circumstances we are all faced with today. And the reason I can say that with a very, very high level of authority is because we deal with it every day here at the California Elder Law Center. We deal with the missing document, the inadequate document, the one thing, the key, if you will, to get us where we have to go. Why? Because it didn't get taken care of. It got put off. It was delayed. It was, well, I'll take care of it when the time comes. I'll take care of it next week. I'm a little busy right now. I don't want to think about that stuff. I don't like to do that. And then the pandemic descends upon us and we don't have choices anymore. You know, if you're a senior and you are, unfortunately, and not because you have COVID-19, not because of the coronavirus, but you have had to get something taken care of. Something has happened to you. You go to the hospital. And then they will ship you out to a rehab faster. You can say, where am I going? And when they get you to the rehab, it's like a whirlwind of what's going on around you. And it used to be there would be some ability to intercede on your behalf because you really weren't in any kind of condition to deal with all these kinds of issues at that point. You're flat on your back in a bed. But now nobody can get in there. Now you're trapped. Now you're alone. There's no authority to get in there. There's no way to take care of anything. And so trying to fix the situation after the horse has left the barn is exceptionally difficult, if not impossible. And I will tell you, it's a story that's getting played out over and over again. In an institutional environment that's run amok, that you are in a situation where everywhere you turn, the answer is no, or I don't know, or we don't do it here that way. When you are confronted with the enormous expense, the inadequacy of the care, with the anxiety that goes along with your spouse, your loved one, is trapped inside an institutional environment with nobody there to advocate for them, to protect them, to at least hold their hand, then you can begin to understand the darkness that descends upon a family, all for the want of a nail. Oh, if we had only had that piece of paper you've been talking to us about every week on the radio, if we only had taken the time to sit down and review what we do have and to see if it needs to be fixed or changed, or if it's already adequate, or if it's not inadequate, or if it is not adequate, we have got to change it pronto. Because we don't know when these events will spin out of control. We don't know when some giant financial institution sits there and says your paperwork's no good. Irrationally, illegally. But what are you going to do? Sue one of the top 4 or 5 banks in the world? All because of their employees are really the source of the consternation of the financial institution. They don't turn these documents down because there's something wrong with the document. They turn these documents down because they don't trust their employees, because their employees have not been trained properly. Those days are gone. And so now you're trapped trying to figure out, how in the world am I going to pay mama's bills? What's next? Where do I get access to protecting her? And those questions have to be answered beforehand nowadays. And so as this pandemic has descended upon society, it's no news to anybody, is it, that the people who have suffered the most are who? Seniors. Why have they suffered the most, do you think? Well, it's a confluence of issues, isn't it? One is they're trapped inside these facilities. They're sealed in there. 2, they can't care for themselves, or they wouldn't be in that facility, would they? So they can't rear up on their hind legs and fight back and demand. They're desperately counting on you. Whether it's your husband or your wife, whether it's your daughter or your son, whether it's your nephew or your niece, somebody has to be the person who's going to be able to protect you and advocate for you. But that person can't get into the facility. And if you think for some one New York minute that you are not going to be subjected to this process, is that you really need to think about that twice. This is going to be a battle that is going to be with us for quite a while, and the people who are going to get treated the best are the ones who are prepared to deal with it the best. Now, yes, I went to one of these non-attorney places because they're dirt cheap, and the big thing that I heard from them was you don't have to pay the attorney. That was their big selling point. Their selling point was, what's your did they have as a selling point their educational background? Did they have the selling point as our experience in dealing with these issues, dealing with thousands of middle-class families confronted with long-term care, trying to deal with disposition and trust administration, trying to make sure all the beneficiaries are protected exactly the way you want? Is that what they sold you on? Is that what they told you? Did they tell you they had the clear understanding of all the different ancillary issues that go along with the potential pitfalls that occur when a family is trying to establish an estate plan? Did they ever mention to you, even if you went to an attorney, about how you could access long-term care benefits like through Medi-Cal perhaps, or through your veterans benefits? Was that discussion ever broached with you? Then can you not reasonably, logically assume there's nothing in those documents that addresses that issue? Stop and think about this. We went to an attorney, we got our documents done, and what did we talk about? We talked about the estate, didn't we? We talked about the estate. We had talked about what our alternatives were. We were given some professional advice about what we could do or what we could not do, what the ramifications of our actions and our decisions would be. And based upon that, we moved forward and we created a set of documents, an estate plan, if you will, that was designed to accomplish developing an answer to a question that was critically important to the two of us, or to me, or to you. And that question was, what happens when I die? What happens when I die? Where does my stuff go? How can I protect the members of my family that I believe need to be protected? Protected from all sorts of vagaries in the world today. How do I make sure, perhaps, if my concern was my grandchildren, that they are protected in the event something happens in our family? How can I be sure in the set of circumstances in which one spouse has passed away, the second spouse has passed away, that I'm not going to be subjected to taxation or expenses or unnecessary fees simply because I didn't get the paperwork right? So I sat down with a professional and I asked them these questions, and they broached a lot of issues I never would have thought of on my own. Or I decided that cheap was the best way for me to go. I decided I don't need their input. Now, people who are not attorneys are prohibited by law from even discussing these kinds of things with you. But see, people who are not attorneys sometimes make dreadful mistakes with these documents. I happen to know that for a fact because I've been doing this stuff for 25 years. So when a family comes into me and shows me the documentation of what they got accomplished because it was cheap, because they didn't have to pay the attorney, then what I see in those documents, in this particular case, a case that just springs to my mind, brother, sister, decedent, had built up a nice little nest egg for himself. He had no children, so he wanted it to go equally to his two siblings. And in the event that they had passed away, he wanted it to go to the nieces and nephews. There was 8 of them. Well, the cheap version of his estate plan turned out to be the exact opposite. Everything went to the nieces and nephews. Not a dime went to the brothers and sisters. Why? Well, somebody made a mistake, I presume, when doing their paperwork. Somebody hit the wrong key. Somebody didn't understand what was going on. Somebody didn't stop dead in their tracks and say, you know what, I need to double check with the client about this because this doesn't make a lot of sense. No, you paid cheap, you got cheap. Brothers and sisters got nothing. Nieces and nephews got everything. Is that what he wanted? The answer to that is obviously not. And so it's worth it to you to get it done right if you want to get it done at all.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info.calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. This is Michael McGuire, Elder Law Attorney at the California Elder Law Center, and you're listening to Elder Answers. We're talking today about being ready, getting prepared, understanding what the challenges are, getting the outcome that you actually want. Getting the outcome that you actually want. Now, there has been an unending series of people who have come to our workshops over these last few years who have originally started off with the idea of getting something done cheap. The cheap is, of course, being documentation that's not prepared by an attorney, but is prepared by anybody else who happens to have a computer sitting on a desk and bought some software. Now, you should know this, the State Bar of California has recently gone through, over the last year and a half or so, done some real soul searching about the idea of being able to access justice. That is, people who are perhaps small estates, low income, can they get access to quality legal services at a point in their lives in which they really can't afford a big engagement with a large law firm. They don't feel the size of their estate merits it. They don't have the money to pay for it, and so they have to settle for second best. They have to settle for the non-attorney. Well, the state bar thought about this long and hard and has had a series of hearings over the past year and a half, 2 years about this exact issue. Should we open up the field of estate planning to non-attorneys, to paralegals, to anybody else that wants to just slap something together? Should we do that because it's cheap? And something is better than nothing, I guess, is the theory. And after a lot of soul searching, and believe me, having a lot of consumer advocates come before committees of the bar to argue both sides of this argument, the State Bar of California did a thorough analysis, and they reached out to the National Bar Association to do other states. There have been other states around the country that have opted for allowing non-attorneys to do estate planning. And this is the conclusion of all the other states in the country. If we have non-attorneys doing estate planning for consumers, it obviates the problem of knowing all the other ancillary issues and being able to advise and protect a client. For the few states that said, you know what, it's better that they get something rather than nothing, and went forward and allowed all non-attorneys to just crank out documents because they have a computer sitting on a desk, each of those states have, after they have seen the consequences to consumers, have rescinded those programs and gone back to, this is too important, there's too much damage gets done to consumers trying to do it cheap. It's just too much. The consumers are the ones who are the net losers when you allow unsophisticated, unprofessional, untrained, uneducated people to handle these kinds of important issues for middle-class families in the United States. Now, that said, California has made a decision. We are not going to be the only state in the country to do that. They are not going to allow that in California any further. Now, that does not mean that you still will not be able to find a way to access quality, high-quality, thoughtful, well-conceived estate planning at prices that will match up with your budget. That is going to be something that you are going to be able to do. It'll take a while, but the California Elder Law Center is prepared right now to begin the process of allowing you to access high-end quality estate planning at bargain basement prices. Why? Because we don't want any of you out there getting trapped or your families getting hurt. Now, many families need far more planning than the basics. But the basics prepared by the California Elder Law Center are going to be head and shoulders over the poorly constructed, bare bones stuff that you get cheap. And ironically, the price difference is not very much, if anything at all, by the time they get done going through all the different permeations and doing what they call upselling you. A little bit extra for this, a little bit, oh, you wanted tires on your car. Oh, you didn't say anything about that. That's extra. A steering wheel. Oh, my goodness. Why didn't you say that in the first place? That's another $500. No, nothing like that. And so a group of attorneys, and you will be able to spot them right away, will be in a position for a middle-class families to help you get where you need to go. Because the basic core of what they are going to be providing you has already included a lot of advanced planning and techniques that are going to be protective of you, to be protective of your family, your spouse. And they are, at the very least, going to be able to answer the question of what happens if I die. But that now begs a new issue here, an issue that is haunting middle-class families and seniors all over America, even as we speak. And that is that your documents that you may have gone out and you spent your hard-earned money to get them done, and they are high quality. They're not the stuff that you get over the cheapy place. That they're decent, good quality estate planning documents that answer the question of what happens if I die. They do lack, however, the perspective of an elder law attorney. An elder law attorney is going to create a plan for you that gets far more focused on answering the question of what happens if I live. What happens if I live? How am I going to find the ability to get quality long-term care, the care that I need and deserve late in my life without going broke doing it? Is there something there that will work with regards to the Veterans Administration if I am a veteran, or if my spouse is a veteran, or if our father or my mother was a veteran, that we could access money as much as $2,200 a month, tax-free, through the VA for wartime veterans? Or amazingly enough, as much as $1,300 a month for the surviving spouse of a veteran. That's right, the spouse of a veteran is entitled to funding through the Veterans Administration. Now, with $1,300 or $2,200 a month, pay for all your care needs while you're at home, or in an assisted living, or in a board and care, or in a memory care unit? The answer is no. But would you rather have the $2,200 and then be able to use the Social Security for Dad, and to be able to move forward, and all of a sudden you don't have a $5,000, $6,000 a month problem. You may have a $1,000 a month problem, and that's why you plan ahead. That's why you get prepared. You could have bought long-term care insurance, but you won't be buying it at 75. You won't be buying it with 3 or 4 chronic illnesses. That's not going to happen. And if you did try to buy it then, you're going to be shocked at how much it's going to cost you. Now, there are alternatives. There are hybrid products that are out there that can provide you with long-term care benefits, the utilization of your assets, and when that's gone, then to be able to utilize the assets of the insurance carrier to pay for your care at home. But you need to have information about that. You have to educate yourself about that. Now, your documents that are being created for you are designed to cope with these kinds of issues in addition to the estate planning, what happens when I die part. This is the what happens when I live part. How can I protect my spouse? If the average cost of being in a nursing home currently is $10,298 a month, and it is, according to the Department of Health Care Services in California, if that's the case, how am I going to come up with that kind of money? Where does that come from? If I'm married, what does that do to my spouse? Am I in a situation that if I draw the wrong card out of the disease deck, I can destroy my spouse financially? And if I don't destroy her or him right now, what will end up happening is by the time I do pass away, there's not enough left to pay for their care. Now we're back to, let's check in with the kids. Is that the idea? You're going to have your children have to come up with the money to take care of you, all because you didn't get around to it? That's not a kind of a burden you want to deliver on your children, and that's not something you want on your conscience. What you want to know is I took care of everything to the best of my ability. I did the very best job I could. That's how you got to where you are. That's how you put a roof over your family's head. That's how you bought a car. That's how you educated your children. That's how you set aside money every month to pay for your retirement so you could live with some decency and some enjoyment in your lives. You had to plan ahead, didn't you? That didn't happen when you were a week and a half away from retiring. You had to do all those things ahead of time. You just didn't show up one day and say, I want a house, and went out that afternoon and bought one. You had to come up with a down payment. You had to do a lot of thinking about that. School districts, children's necessities. How do I balance off these monthly payments? All those kinds of issues you had to plan for, and yet you left yourself at this phase of your life out of the planning. You either didn't think about it, you didn't think it was about you, but here it is. It's on your doorstep. It's on your doorstep, and it can devastate your family. More important, far more important, is that it could devastate you. You get trapped in one of these facilities right now without a plan, you're stuck. You're sort of stuck anyway. 40% of the people that have died from the coronavirus are seniors in nursing homes. You think about that for a minute. So when you're trying to figure out how in God's name are we going to be able to protect ourselves through this process, is it starts and the responsibility is right sitting there in your lap. You need to begin the process of planning, and you need to begin the process of making sure you're going to be safe.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info.calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. So this is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. You're listening to Elder Answers. This is the show where we try to educate you, bring you information that you could use. Accurate information. How do you defend yourself against county bureaucracy that doesn't know what the rules are, or have some people who try to apply rules in such a way that keeps you from getting the quality of care that you need and deserve? How do you do that? How do you make sure you don't get bullied along the way by a facility that is in a situation where all they care about is the bottom line? That the corporate entity that's running the show is more important than the patients. And I'm here to tell you that's coming up over and over and over again in America today. How do you do that? How do you protect yourself? Well, you have to be empowered, and you have to empower each other, and you have to empower whomever you're trusting to take care of you when the time comes. Everybody who addresses this issue has got two questions that they have to come up with an answer, and you have to come up with the answer ahead of time. The first question is, how are you going to pay for your care? Well, if you're talking about an assisted living, you're talking about care at home, if you happen to be a veteran, you have access to pretty significant amounts of funding to pay for that care. If you are in a nursing home, you're going to go through a process in which your Medicare benefits, your Medicare insurance, will pay for you to be in the hospital. It will pay for you to be in the rehab. But if you need convalescent care, you're going to have to switch horses. You have to go from Medicare to Medi-Cal. Medicare is your health insurance. You paid for that every paycheck since 1966. Medi-Cal is means tested. What's your income? What's your assets? Can we put a lien on this person's house? How do we go about getting our money back even when we've given them the benefit? Because Medi-Cal will pay for that $10,000 bill. And in some circumstances, they'll pay 100%. And so you have to have an understanding of how the program works and how it could fit in to protect you. I don't know how many times I've heard this story. People come into me and they'll talk to them, or they'd come to a workshop and they'd be talking about Medi-Cal, and they go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. My grandmother went to a nursing home, and we sold her house, and we spent all the money at the nursing home. And then when she went broke and the money was gone, then the nursing home put her on Medi-Cal." Medi-Cal's not welfare. Medi-Cal is a catastrophic illness program. It's designed to protect a middle-class family from the enormous expenses in the medical field that they can't bear. In other words, if I have a $10,000 a month medical necessity and I don't have $10,000 a month in income, I'm eligible for Medi-Cal. That's step number one in a 3-step process. I am eligible for Medi-Cal. Am I qualified? Well, now they want to see your income and they want to see your assets. What they will not tell you is what you need to do to protect yourself. And what you need to do to protect yourself is to educate yourself. Now, we used to use the workshops to do that. We can't do that anymore. That's obvious. We're in the middle of this god-awful pandemic. But what we can do is offer you online, clearly stated training sessions that's easy for you to access, listen to, and then you can reference it on the website. You can go back up onto YouTube and watch it again if you like. You can have your daughter who's in Orange County or your son who's in Chicago watch it. And so we can all be part of a family of people who really, really care about you. I will tell you the one common denominator, and this is an issue that arose when the nurse practitioner that we use for our clients to supplement the quality of care that's so critically important is to have that supplement available to our clients and to explain to them why it's a benefit for them to think about doing something like that, retaining the services of some medical professional to protect them and guide them through this process. The one thing we were talking about in a brainstorming thing about what we offer our clients, both here at the California Elder Law Center and through the extension, the medical professional who is taking care of this issue, is that we care. We actually care about you. And we've been doing this for 25 years. We are really, really good at what we do. But the real issue here is that we care that you get decent care. We do not accept poor quality care for our clients. We do not accept allowing an institution corporate owner to keep you from accessing the benefits to which you are entitled. We don't accept even a hospital treating you like you are a liability to them. There are rules, there are regulations that protect you, and you don't know what they are, but we do. And we care that you get a good quality level of care and that you get better. We care that you don't have to live with anxiety or fear. We care that you're not reluctant to call us, pick up the phone and call us and ask a question because you're afraid you're going to get a bill. We don't do it that way here. And so we care that you have an outcome that's exactly what you are anticipating getting, and you get the quality of care you need and deserve, and to the extent that we are possibly going to be able to access public benefits, you won't go broke doing it. But I will assure you that if you have not made the effort to protect yourself, it's very, very difficult to do it when you're in harm's way. Today, the nightmare that we're facing is that you're in one of these institutions. We had a client, and you should be aware of this, we had a client who was utilizing the services of a facility here in this valley. This family had spent over $400,000 over the preceding 4 years. This individual was bouncing back and forth between the nursing home, the rehab center, the hospital. And as his life deteriorated, it became obvious that he had reached that point in his life that he was going to be facing end-of-life issues, and he was placed on hospice, a Medicare program that is to the advantage of the family to provide quality palliative care for somebody who is at the end of their life. And that's what they did with this gentleman. Now, he was in this facility, and because of the pandemic, of course, it was critically important for the facility, for the family, that everybody be tested. He was negative. His wife was negative. His sister had come down from Santa Cruz to say goodbye to him. She was negative. He was in a private room sealed off. Anybody who came to visit him was going to be wearing a full gown and a face mask and be fully protected. And so when the transitioning began and it was obvious that he was in the process of passing away, his wife and his sister wanted to visit with him. The wife went in first. She was entitled to 1 hour, according to the facility. She'd never heard that before. Nobody had ever heard that before, and it was not the rule. It was the individual running the facility that took it upon themselves to make that decision. They blamed it on the CDC, but that was incorrect. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It wasn't a lie. It was incorrect. The corporate ownership of that facility acknowledges that was incorrect. So she got 1 hour, and they escorted her out of the building. You got to leave. Get out. Kicked her out. The sister, she couldn't get in to see him. They went around, and they stood in the bushes looking through the window to say goodbye. She went back after this at the end of the business day, hoping that she could at least get in to at least hold her husband's hand as he passed away. She got there at 7 o'clock. When she got there at 7 o'clock, put the gown on, the mask on, went into the room. She was escorted to the room. And there he was on the bed, covered by a sheet, dead. Her first question was that nobody called me. Nobody told me. So, we called the hospice provider. We called them, and we haven't heard back. That's why we didn't call you. But I'm his wife. I should have been here. I should have been here, both for his sake and for my sake. So, do you need to be protected? Do you need to know what your rights are? Indeed you do. Indeed you do. And that's what we try to do. We really care about you. We really care that you get the outcome that you need and deserve. It's the best we can do, but we don't have the ability to help you in this world unless you have become prepared. It's gotten much, much more difficult for everybody. What does it mean to be prepared? It means that the documents that you're counting on others in your family to be able to handle your situation, those people are legally empowered to do everything that's possible to A, protect the assets, B, protect your income, C, protect your spouse, D, protect a legacy for your children, but most importantly is to increase the quality of your care. The money is supposed to be for the quality of your care. Now, at $10,000 a month, if you're paying that out, there's not a lot of wiggle room for extra care or extra money to pay for care. If, on the other hand, you are getting the program that's a catastrophic illness program applied to your situation, and the state of California through Medi-Cal is paying for that, now you can use your precious resources to upgrade the quality of your care, either for your husband, either for your wife, or perhaps for your children to be able to take care of that for you. In addition, how many of us here in this valley are alone? How many of us have a situation in which we don't have children? We don't have that infrastructure. We need to create that infrastructure of protection, and we need to have our legal documents say we're allowed to do that for each other. Or whomever we have entrusted our fate to, when we can't make those decisions, that person will, or that entity or that firm will move forward and make sure we get the quality of care that we need and deserve. This is not a chance kind of a thing. This is not maybe it'll work out okay. It will not work out okay, I can assure you. Because you're not going to find a lot of allies in the care business that have any interest in doing anything but satisfying their corporate owners as far as the profitability of that bed you're laying in.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info@calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. This is Michael McGuire of the California Elder Law Center, and you are listening to Elder Answers. Okay, we've been talking about the importance of having the legal support to move forward and protect your assets. Protect them from what? Well, you don't want to lien on your house, do you? You know, the rules underneath Medi-Cal would be that if you had benefits that accrue to you, that when you pass away, they could put a lien on your property. And they give you a full disclosure about that. It's a little scary when you see it and you read it. But there are lots of different ways to protect yourself so that that would never happen. If you had some money sitting in the bank, you want to make sure that that money goes to probably your family rather than to the state of California. And you can do that if you've structured your documents correctly. Now, most estate planning attorneys, when they're preparing a set of documents and they're crafting a very intelligent, dynamic estate plan, are addressing the issue of what happens when I die. What happens when I die? Where does my stuff go? How can I protect people in my family that I feel need to be protected? How do I avoid an estate tax issue? How do I keep my estate out of the probate process, out of the courts? I don't want all that. I don't want to be a burden on my family. They do a fantastic job. That's what professionals trained in that area can accomplish for you and your family. Now, the elder law attorney community does that work for their clients, but they are also going to address a different question. They are going to address the question of what happens if I live. What happens if between the two, living and dying, which one do you think is more expensive? Which one do you think is more complicated? Well, boy, howdy, living fills that bill. And so you need to have this internal structure, and it's going to be found in the trustee powers of your trust. It's going to be found in the durable power of attorney. It's going to be found in personal property assignments. It's going to be found in an assignment, perhaps in the creation of an irrevocable trust, if that's what's necessary to access your benefit. It may be the creation of what's called a 3-year trust. The 3-year trust will give you access to all the benefits that you may be entitled to, and recognizes that there may be a look-back period like the Veterans Administration has delivered on the heads of vets and their families. The 3-year trust will alleviate that issue. And so as you pull all those kinds of issues together, how do we go about getting quality of care? Now, believe me, quality of care is dealing with people that really care about you, that understand you. That's why it's a very holistic process. This is not a cut and dried, listen, here's the money, fine, see you later kind of a proposition. That will not work in that world. The reason is that every family who's going through this is in crisis. Something has happened. Their loved one has gone to the hospital. That's a battle. I need to know that I'm going to be allowed to stay in the hospital. I need to know that I've been admitted to the hospital because it impacts my benefits all the way down the line. I need to know that I'm in that hospital long enough to get quality of care. We had a client recently who is suffering from dementia, wandered away from the house. This is getting to be a pattern with her. She wandered away from the house. She tripped over a berm, fell into a ditch, and shattered her shoulder in 5 places. One day in a hospital, here's some Tylenol, you have to go home. That's it. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to the mother. It's not acceptable to the daughter. It's not acceptable to anybody. And yet the imperative of these systems is to move patients down the line. Where would they move them to? How about a rehab center where you could do some rehab, get some physical therapy, get back up on your feet? Medicare graciously is going to pay for that care. But there's going to come a point in time in which the facility, in addition to the supplemental insurance company, want that person off of that program because they don't want to pay for it anymore. Now you are entitled to long-term care benefits underneath a different program. Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal pays for convalescent care. Medicare health insurance does not. How do I know when to do what? Well, you probably are going to need somebody sitting on your shoulder explaining to you, your family, what's next, what you should do. How do I protect my rights when they're telling me that Medicare won't pay for this anymore because I'm not improving? Well, the first step you would do is to say, by the way, facility, that's not the law, and you know that. It's not like this is news to you. When you say that, you know you're misrepresenting the law. But here's the law. You are entitled to maintain that level of care to maintain your well-being. That's the law, and here it is. And so as you step through this nightmare of a process sometimes, more times than it should happen, then you will discover that you can, in fact, protect yourself. You can, in fact, enhance the quality of your care. But then if you do get to the point where you're going to need convalescent care and you go on Medi-Cal, that's not the end of your trauma. You are going to want to supplement your care to make sure you're treated with dignity and safety while you're in an institutional environment. You know, every year the government goes out and grades every nursing home in the United States, every nursing home in this valley, every nursing home up in Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree. They're all on that website. They'll show you whether that place is rated good or not so good. We have a lot of not so good. But you can enhance it with personal support. And if you have the money that you have protected, you can move forward and do that. Now, even if we do provide families, and we will begin this process probably over the next 2 weeks, that you will be able to access benefits or documentation on our website priced at a point that you are going to be doing a do-it-yourself estate plan. We will include these significant powers for you. For those of you that want to sit down and craft a personalized plan, you are going to be in a different situation and get a different level of input from the firm. That's what's important to you, is to have a place to go to be able to get information, not just the day you sign the documents and put them in the nice binder and put them in a drawer, but on the day that you need help. The day that you need. And the day that you need help, what is it you're really looking for? I'm looking for somebody that cares. Okay, I'm looking for a nurse practitioner or maybe a concierge physician. I should have done that ahead of time. I should have done it ahead of time. These are people that care. They get it and they care and they can protect you. I need to know that my spouse is not going to be destroyed financially. I need to know they can't put a lien on my house. I need to know that they're not going to destroy my savings account, the legacy I have for my children, my son, my daughter, my grandchildren. All those things need to be addressed. And that's what we've been doing for 25 years. Now, the first step in this process is for you to get educated. So you need to pick up the phone and call 760-422-0404. 422-0404. You need to go to www.cal-elder, ELDER-law, LAW.com. CalElderLaw.com. There you can sign up to participate in some educational go-to-meeting presentations that are clear, easy to understand and follow, and are available for future reference both for you or your family. You, your children, your husband, your wife, your sister up in Oregon, everybody can sit in on them. And if they miss that presentation, don't worry, it'll be available to you. We're going to build a library for you. We're going to take our workshop and recreate it in bite-sized pieces for you so that when you go through one and it sinks in, or if you heard something you weren't sure about, you can go back and watch it again, or you can get up and go give yourself a sandwich and a cup of coffee and take a break, put your feet up and listen to the next one, or wait till tomorrow. The issue is that we're going to put you in the driver's seat. We're going to put your wheel, your hands on the steering wheel. And we're going to continue to deliver the quality of services we have been delivering for the last 25 years. The sooner you get into that process, the sooner you will have the comfort of knowing that your situation will be protected. Everything's available to you on 760-422-0404. You can call that number, and if you're confused by something or you didn't write all this stuff down, don't worry about it. That person that's answering the phone is going to set you straight and set you up. Some of you know that you have a problem. You got to get in right away. That's how you're going to do that. The office has been prepped for you as safely as we can possibly make it. We have an air filtering system in the office. We have plastic shields between us. We have face shields. We have face masks. Everything is disinfected before you come in. Everything is disinfected when you leave. And if you'd rather do it electronically, if for no other reason you want your son who's back in Texas and your daughter who's in Orange County to participate, we'll do that too. The question is that how do we get you comfortable with getting down the road, because that way we know that we can get you safe and you can be protected. That's the bottom line. That's what we have always functioned with, is educating you to protect yourselves and to enhance the quality of your care. 760-422-0404. You really owe it to yourself. You owe it to your spouse. And you owe it to your family, because my guess is you're not interested in being a burden on your children. My guess is that you want to stay in your home. My guess is you don't want to go broke paying for your care. Well, then do something about it. 760-422-0404. And until next week, this is Michael McGuire saying thank you so much for making this radio show the most successful radio show of its kind in the Valley. And I will be talking to you again soon.
A child struggling to speak. It's often a developmental disability that can leave a child frustrated and isolated. Life-changing treatment by professional speech therapists is available at no cost to the family. It's at the Stan and Bobby Gold Right Care Childhood Language Center in Palm Desert. We need your donation. On your phone or computer, search Gold Right Care. That's Gold, R-I-T-E, Care. From the Palm Springs Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Give a child the gift of speech.